Commander Marcus Cole pressed his back against the cold stone wall of the canyon. His heart beat fast in his chest. Sweat ran down his face even though the air was cold. Around him, the alien world of Kepler 442b was silent. Too silent. The twin suns were setting behind the purple mountains, and long shadows stretched across the rocky ground like dark fingers reaching for him. He was alone now. His squad of 12 had been reduced to just him. The Vrakthi hunters had picked them off one by one over the past 3 days. These alien predators were the most dangerous creatures humanity had ever faced. They stood 8 feet tall with 4 arms and skin that could change color to match anything around them. Their eyes could see in complete darkness, and they could smell fear from a mile away. Marcus checked his pulse rifle. Only 20 rounds left. His combat knife was still strapped to his thigh. His emergency beacon had been destroyed in the first ambush. No help was coming. He was on his own in enemy territory, with hunters closing in from all sides. The mission had started simple enough. The human colony on the northern continent had sent a distress signal. Something was killing the settlers. When Marcus and his team arrived, they found only blood and empty buildings. Then the Vrakthi came for them too. A sound made Marcus freeze. It was soft like sand shifting. Then came that terrible clicking noise the Vrakthi made when they communicated. They were close. Very close. Marcus had learned something about these creatures in the past 3 days of running and hiding. They were stronger than humans. They were faster than humans. They could see better and hear better and smell better. But they were not smarter than humans. They relied too much on their natural gifts. They had become lazy hunters because nothing on their homeworld could challenge them. Humans were different. Humans had evolved on a world that wanted to kill them every day. They learned to use tools when they had no claws. They learned to work together when they were weak alone. They learned to think when they could not outrun or outfight their enemies. Marcus looked at the canyon around him. The walls were steep, but not impossible to climb. Large rocks lay scattered on the ground from old landslides. A narrow passage led deeper into the canyon ahead. Behind him, the way he had come was open but exposed. The clicking grew louder. Marcus counted at least 4 different sources. 4 hunters working together to trap him. They probably thought this would be easy. One tired human with almost no ammunition. What could he possibly do against 4 of the galaxy's most perfect predators? Marcus smiled grimly. He would show them what a human could do. He moved quickly but quietly to a pile of rocks near the canyon wall. His fingers found what he was looking for. The rocks here were volcanic. They had high iron content and sharp edges. Perfect. He gathered several fist-sized stones and stuffed them into his pack. Next, he pulled out his emergency flare. He had been saving it hoping for rescue. Now it would serve a different purpose. He also had 3 meters of climbing cord and his fire starting kit. Not much against alien killing machines, but enough for a human who knew how to think. The first Vrakthi appeared at the canyon entrance. Its skin shifted from rocky gray to the color of the stone behind it. But Marcus had learned to look for the shimmer in the air where the camouflage was not perfect. He saw the creature's outline moving toward him. He did not shoot. 20 rounds for 4 hunters meant he had to make every shot count. Instead, he threw one of his rocks far to his left. It clattered against the canyon wall. The Vrakthi's head snapped toward the sound. Its forearms spread wide, ready to grab prey. Marcus ran the other way. He sprinted for the narrow passage deeper into the canyon. The Vrakthi saw him and let out a hunting scream. The sound echoed off the walls. Answering screams came from 3 other directions. The trap was closing, but Marcus was not running blindly. He had scouted this canyon earlier today. He knew where he was going. The passage narrowed until only one person could fit through at a time. The Vrakthi were bigger than humans. They would have to squeeze through one by one. He reached the narrow point and turned. The first Vrakthi was right behind him, It was huge up close. Its mouth opened, showing rows of sharp teeth. Its forearms reached for Marcus. Marcus fired 3 shots into its face. The creature fell backward into the one behind it. Both went down in a tangle of limbs. Marcus did not wait to see if they were dead. He ran deeper into the passage. The canyon opened up again into a small circular area. High walls surrounded it on all sides. There was no way out except the way he came in. It looked like a dead end. It looked like a trap. That was exactly what Marcus wanted the Vrakthy to think. He worked fast. His climbing cord went across the entrance about knee height. It was thin and hard to see in the dim light. He scattered rocks around the ground to make it uneven. He lit his fire starting kit and held the flare ready. The clicking sounds grew closer. The Vrakthy were more careful now. They had lost 1 or maybe 2 of their hunters. They were starting to realize that this human was not easy prey. But their pride would not let them give up. No species had ever beaten a Vrakthy in a hunt. The first hunter entered the circular area. Its camouflage flickered as it adjusted to the new surroundings. It saw Marcus standing in the center with his back to the wall. Its mouth spread in what might have been a smile. The human had trapped himself. A second hunter came through the passage. Then a third. 3 against 1, and nowhere for the human to run. The creatures spread out, forming a half circle around Marcus. They moved slowly now, savoring the moment. Marcus waited. His heart was pounding, but his hands were steady. He had been in bad situations before. Humans were good at surviving bad situations. It was what they did best. The lead Vrakthy charged. It was impossibly fast, but Marcus was ready. He ignited the flare and threw it at the creature's face. The bright light blinded it. Vrakthy eyes were designed for darkness. The sudden flash was like a physical blow. The creature stumbled and hit the trip wire. It went down hard. Marcus was already moving. He jumped over the fallen hunter and ran for the passage. The other 2 were blinded too, waving their arms wildly, trying to clear their vision. Marcus did not stop running. His legs burned and his lungs screamed for air, but he kept going. Behind him, he could hear the Vrakthy recovering. Their angry screams filled the canyon. They would be coming after him even angrier than before. Good. Angry enemies made mistakes. Calm enemies were dangerous. Humans had learned this lesson thousands of years ago on the battlefields of Earth. Let your enemy lose control. Then strike when they were not thinking clearly. Marcus emerged from the canyon into a wide rocky plain. The twin suns had set now, and 2 small moons cast pale silver light over the landscape. He could see better than he expected. More importantly, the Vrakthy would have trouble using their camouflage in the moonlight. Their skin shifting showed up more clearly against the silver glow. He checked his rifle. 17 rounds left. 3 hunters still alive and probably very angry. Not great odds, but better than before. Marcus jogged across the plain toward a cluster of large boulders. He needed high ground. Humans had always loved high ground. It let them see their enemies coming. It made them harder to attack. Every human military leader throughout history had understood this simple truth. He climbed the largest boulder and lay flat on top. From here, he could see the canyon entrance clearly. He could also see movement in 3 directions as the Vrakthy spread out to search for him. They were being smarter now, not bunching up where he could trap them again. Marcus pulled out one of his volcanic rocks. He had an idea. A stupid, dangerous idea. But those were the best kind when you were outnumbered and outgunned. He waited for the closest Vrakthy to pass below his boulder. Then he threw the rock as hard as he could toward the second hunter in the distance. The rock sailed through the air and hit the ground near the second creature with a loud crack. The first Vrakthy spun toward the sound. It saw its companion and let out a questioning click. The second one clicked back. They were confused. Where was the human? Where had that rock come from? Marcus threw another rock in a different direction. This one landed near the third hunter. Now all three were clicking frantically at each other. Their heads swiveled back and forth, scanning for the threat they could not see. The Vrakthi were pack hunters. They worked together using their clicks to coordinate. But Marcus had disrupted their communication. They did not know where he was or where the attacks were coming from. They started moving toward each other, seeking safety in numbers. This was what Marcus wanted. He lined up a shot carefully. 3 targets moving closer together. His rifle could fire in 3 round bursts. If he was lucky and skilled, he might take all 3 down before they could react. He breathed out slowly. His finger tightened on the trigger. The Vrakthi were almost touching, now huddled together in the moonlight. Marcus fired. The first burst caught the lead Vrakthi in the chest. It went down screaming. The second burst hit the one on the right in the throat. It grabbed at its neck and fell. The third tried to run, but Marcus's last burst caught it in the back. It stumbled forward and collapsed face first into the dirt. Silence fell over the plain. Marcus did not move. He watched the 3 shapes on the ground, waiting for any sign of movement. Nothing. He watched for another full minute. Still nothing. Slowly he climbed down from the boulder. His rifle had 8 rounds left. He approached the fallen hunters carefully, keeping his weapon ready. The first 2 were definitely dead. The third was still breathing, but barely. Its eyes looked up at Marcus with something that might have been confusion. Click, click, click. The dying Vrakthi was trying to communicate. Marcus did not speak their language, but he understood the question. How? How had one weak human defeated 4 of the galaxy's greatest hunters? Marcus knelt beside the creature. "You want to know how I won?" he said quietly. "It's simple. You thought you were hunting me, but I was hunting you. You relied on your strength and your speed and your senses. I used my brain. That's the difference between us." The Vrakthi's eyes dimmed and it stopped breathing. Marcus stood and looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there was Earth, his home. The planet that had created a species tough enough and smart enough to survive anything the universe threw at them. He started walking north toward the colony. There might be survivors hiding somewhere. If there were, he would find them. He would protect them. That was what humans did. They survived, and they protected their own. It took Marcus 2 days to reach the colony. He found 12 survivors hiding in a sealed bunker beneath the main building. They had been trapped there for a week, living on emergency rations and hoping for rescue that never came. When Marcus opened the bunker door, they looked up at him with wide eyes. He was covered in dirt and blood. His uniform was torn. He had not slept in 3 days, but he was alive and he was smiling. "The Vrakthi are dead," he said simply. "All of them. It's safe to come out now." An old woman at the front of the group stared at him in disbelief. "How? They killed everyone. How did you survive?" Marcus helped her to her feet. "I'm human," he said. "Surviving is what we do best." 3 weeks later, Marcus stood before the Galactic Assembly. Representatives from 100 different species filled the massive chamber. They had called him here to give a report on the Vrakthi incident. Many of them had never seen a human before. They studied him with curiosity and something like fear. The Vrakthi ambassador was there too. Its forearms were crossed and its eyes burned with hatred. The Vrakthi had demanded justice for the death of their hunters. They wanted Marcus executed for murder. Marcus stood tall and told his story. He described the ambush that killed his squad. He explained how the Vrakthi had hunted human colonists for sport. He detailed every trap, every trick, every desperate gamble that had kept him alive. When he finished, the chamber was silent. Then the assembly chairman spoke. "Commander Cole, the Vrakthi claim you murdered their hunters in cold blood. How do you respond?" Marcus looked directly at the Vrakthi ambassador. "They hunted us. They killed my people. I defended myself and the civilians under my protection. If the Vrakthi have a problem with that, they can come try again any time. We'll be waiting." The ambassador rose in fury, but before it could speak, Another voice cut through the chamber. The representative from the Kalari Federation was standing. The Kalari were one of the oldest and most respected species in the galaxy. For 10,000 years, the Vrakthi have terrorized young species across the galaxy, the Kalari said. No one has ever stopped them, until now. One human, alone, with almost no weapons, defeated 4 of their best hunters. Perhaps it is time the galaxy reconsidered what these humans are capable of. Murmurs rippled through the assembly. Marcus saw representatives looking at him differently now. Not with curiosity, but with respect, and maybe a little fear. The vote was swift. The Vrakthi were censured for their attacks on human colonists. Their ambassadors stormed out of the chamber, making threats. No one seemed worried. After the assembly ended, the Kalari representative approached Marcus. You have done something remarkable, Commander. You have shown the galaxy that humans are not to be underestimated. Marcus shrugged. I just did what humans have always done. Faced impossible odds and refused to give up. It's in our blood. Our ancestors survived ice ages and plagues and wars. They fought lions with sticks and crossed oceans in wooden boats. We're stubborn. We don't know how to quit. The Kalari made a sound that might have been laughter. Then the galaxy had better get used to you. Because I suspect humans are going to be around for a very long time. Marcus smiled and looked out the window at the stars. Earth was out there somewhere. A small blue world that had given birth to a species of survivors, of fighters, of thinkers who could turn any disadvantage into victory. The Vrakthi had learned this lesson the hard way. Marcus suspected they would not be the last. The universe was vast and full of dangers. But wherever those dangers arose, humans would be there to face them. Not because they were the strongest or the fastest, but because they were human. And humans never ever gave up. Commander Marcus Cole returned home a hero. But he never forgot those 3 days in the canyon. He never forgot the hunters who had underestimated him. And he never forgot the most important lesson of all. In the darkest moment, when everything seems lost, that is when humanity shines brightest. It always had. It always would.